Sheik Gumi, in his recent address from Turkey, shared his thoughts on Nigeria's insecurity and President Donald Trump's controversial remarks. Before we dive into the main gist, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you. The Nigerian scholar didn't hold back, and his words are stirring up quite a conversation. He laid bare the core issues plaguing the country: unemployment, poor education, economic struggles, and governance challenges. But despite all these, he didn't paint a totally bleak picture. In fact, he expressed hope, suggesting that Nigeria is slowly emerging from a long period of darkness. It's not all bad news, he believes, and the country could experience improvement soon if things go according to plan. But of course, what does this really mean for Nigerians who are living through this turmoil daily? Unemployment is skyrocketing, education is failing the youth, and many Nigerians are feeling abandoned by their government. The country is under constant pressure, with insecurity widespread, affecting all corners of life from the urban areas to the villages. And let's not forget the insurgencies, terrorism, and the daily struggles citizens face just to survive. Gumi, however, is one of the few voices calling for optimism. While many others are ready to give up on Nigeria's future, Gumi believes there is light at the end of the tunnel. The question is, will the light be bright enough for Nigeria to truly escape its current challenges? For many Nigerians, the question remains whether they can trust this optimism. But Sheik Gumi wants the people to hold on. Things will improve very soon, he says. We can only wait and see if that proves true. But no matter what, the hope he's offering is something Nigerians desperately need right now. The conversation took an interesting turn when the issue of foreign intervention came up. Gumi emphasized that Nigeria doesn't need international interference. What it needs is support. Many might agree, but that doesn't mean Gumi is blind to the reality that the country is in dire need of help. What he's against is foreign nations stepping in and undermining Nigeria's sovereignty. He argues that intervention could lead to chaos, with Nigerians resisting foreign influence. Gumi's perspective here resonates with many. How would you feel if a foreign power started threatening your country, telling you how to solve your problems? Enter President Trump. His comments about Nigeria, particularly the Christian communities in the country, have sparked a lot of controversy. Trump has been vocal, threatening actions against Nigeria due to its security problems. But Sheik Gumi is not having it. He finds it ironic that after how Trump handled the situation in Gaza, he is now suddenly so concerned about Nigeria's Christian communities. The Muslim communities, according to Gumi, are beginning to question Trump's motives. Is this truly about religious freedom, or is there a political agenda behind these statements? Gumi's point is sharp. Trump's focus on the Christian community seems a bit too focused and leaves out the broader issues at play. In his eyes, Trump's approach raises questions about his sincerity and the real reasons behind his rhetoric. Let's talk about international intervention for a moment. Gumi's words are not just a call for national self-reliance. They're a reminder that Nigeria, like many African nations, has often been subjected to foreign influence. Whether it's economic sanctions or military interventions, many Africans feel that the West has long imposed its will on the continent. That's why Gumi's stance on this matter resonates with so many. It's not about turning down help, but about avoiding a repeat of the past, where nations were left to pick up the pieces after foreign powers acted in their own interest, often leaving Africa worse off than before. The irony is also hard to ignore. Trump, who has been so hands-off with other global crises, suddenly seems so concerned about Nigeria. Gumi says this is puzzling, and he's right. After all, Trump's foreign policy into recent years has been about America first, stepping back from international engagement and prioritizing national interests. So why the sudden concern for Nigeria now? While Gumi acknowledges the gravity of the situation in Nigeria, his insistence that Nigeria can solve its problems without foreign intervention speaks to the deeper belief in national pride and sovereignty. He's not advocating for Nigeria to isolate itself from the world, but he's making a strong point that Nigerians themselves must be the ones to solve their problems. He's also aware of the long-standing relationship between Nigeria and Western nations, especially the United States. But he stresses that no one knows Nigeria's problems better than Nigerians, and let's not forget the impact of foreign intervention on local sentiments. History has shown that when foreign nations impose their will on African countries, it often leads to more resistance and unrest. The idea of foreign powers dictating terms is something many Nigerians are not willing to accept. It's not that they don't need help, it's that they want to be treated with respect, not as a country that can't stand on its own 2 feet. The situation, though, is not simple. Nigeria's security challenges are far-reaching. The country's long-standing issues with terrorism, especially in the northern regions, have made headlines for years. The kidnapping of school children, the activities of armed bandits, and Boko Haram's insurgency all contribute to a climate of fear and instability. At the same time, the government is dealing with an economic downturn that has left millions of Nigerians struggling to make ends meet. Insecurity and economic hardship are a volatile combination, and it's a powder keg waiting to explode. That's why Gumi's message is particularly important right now. While he's optimistic about Nigeria's future, he's also mindful of the challenges ahead. The question is, will the government rise to the occasion? Let's also take a look at the broader political landscape. While the government has repeatedly promised to tackle insecurity, the results have been mixed. Many Nigerians have grown skeptical of political promises and are beginning to lose faith in the system. Corruption is rampant, the economy is faltering, and the people are demanding action. But as Gumi points out, this is not just about leadership, it's also about national unity. In his view, Nigeria's greatest strength lies in its people, not in the actions of a few powerful individuals. What the country needs now is to rally together, overcome the divisions, and work toward common goals. That's the only way out of the tunnel. But for many Nigerians, the question remains, will it happen? Will the country come together in the way Gumi envisions? Or will the challenges of insecurity, corruption, and a failing economy continue to drag Nigeria down? Gumi is hoping for the former, but there's no denying the obstacles that remain. The road to recovery won't be easy, and it won't be quick. But for now, it's the hope that keeps the country moving forward. So, what does this all mean for the future? Is Gumi right? Can Nigeria turn things around? Or is it destined to remain trapped in this cycle of insecurity and hardship? Time will tell. But one thing is for sure. The issues Gumi raised are not just relevant to Nigeria. They're a reminder to the entire world that security, sovereignty, and self-reliance are critical. The way forward is uncertain, but with the right kind of leadership, perhaps Nigeria can start making strides toward a better future. Now, one thing that stands out in Gumi's comments is his insistence that Nigeria doesn't need foreign intervention. There's this real pushback against the idea that a country should rely on outside powers to resolve its internal conflicts. This resistance isn't just from the elites in Nigeria. It's something that's deeply ingrained in the people. For decades, Nigeria, like many African nations, has been subjected to foreign influence, whether in the form of political pressure, economic sanctions, or military intervention. And let's face it, more often than not, those interventions haven't led to anything good. In fact, they've often made things worse. Gumi's belief in Nigeria's self-reliance is something that resonates deeply with many Nigerians. After all, the country has vast resources, a large and youthful population, and a rich history of overcoming challenges. So when Gumi talks about Nigeria solving its own problems, it's not just a pipe dream. It's an aspiration that many Nigerians share. They don't want to be seen as incapable of handling their own affairs. They want the world to see them as a powerful, capable nation, one that doesn't need to be rescued, but can stand on its own feet. However, it's important to consider the bigger picture. While Gumi's optimism is refreshing, it doesn't completely address the fact that the security challenges facing Nigeria are monumental. Terrorism, armed banditry, kidnappings, and civil unrest are rampant, and the government's response has often been slow and ineffective. At the same time, the country's economic troubles have only compounded the crisis. With poverty levels rising and millions of Nigerians struggling to get by, it's hard to see how a quick turnaround is possible without external support, whether that's in the form of economic aid or technical expertise in counterterrorism. But Gumi isn't having any of it. He's not against international cooperation. He's simply against foreign nations dictating how Nigeria should manage its affairs. And that's where the tension lies. Many Nigerians believe that the country needs help in terms of resources, technology, and even diplomatic support, but not intervention that undermines their sovereignty. This is a tough balancing act, and it's one that Gumi is clearly trying to navigate. Now, let's talk about Trump's role in all of this. We've already mentioned his focus on Nigeria's Christian communities, but there's another layer to this. Trump's approach has been one of confrontation. He's not subtle about his intentions. He has issued threats and made statements that many see as patronizing, almost as if he's implying that Nigeria cannot solve its own problems without outside interference. That's a slap in the face to a nation of over 200 million people who are more than capable of tackling their own issues if given the proper tools and resources. In Gumi's eyes, Trump's rhetoric isn't just unhelpful, it's dangerous. He's worried that this kind of foreign pressure could spark a backlash in Nigeria, leading to more protests and resistance. And let's be clear, when a country's sovereignty is questioned, especially by a foreign power, it's not just a matter of politics, it's a matter of national pride. Nigerians, as Gumi rightly points out, are not going to take kindly to foreign threats. They've resisted colonialism, fought for independence, and survived years of internal turmoil. The last thing they need is for a foreign leader to come in and tell them how to run their country. But that's not to say that Nigeria shouldn't be open to assistance. Gumi makes a good point here. The country needs help, not intervention. There's a difference. Assistance can come in many forms: financial aid, development projects, technical expertise in counterinsurgency, and so on. The key is that it should be given on Nigeria's terms, not imposed from the outside. Gumi's call for cooperation, not coercion, is a message that should resonate with the international community. At the end of the day, though, the solution to Nigeria's problems has to come from within. It's up to the Nigerian people to demand better governance, to hold their leaders accountable, and to push for reforms that address the root causes of insecurity and economic hardship. No amount of foreign aid or intervention will fix Nigeria's problems if the country's leadership doesn't take action. That's the harsh truth. But here's the thing. Nigeria is not without hope. Yes, the country is facing significant challenges, but there's also incredible potential. From its young population to its natural resources, Nigeria has the ingredients for success. It just needs the right leadership, the right policies, and the right kind of support. The road to recovery won't be easy, but with determination and a clear vision, Nigeria can rise above its current struggles. But it starts with the people. Gumi's message is a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there is always hope. He believes in Nigeria's future, and while that might sound overly optimistic to some, it's that kind of belief that keeps the country moving forward, even when things seem impossible. So, what happens next? Will Nigeria rise above its challenges, or will the cycle of insecurity and economic hardship continue? Will international powers respect Nigeria's sovereignty? Or will they continue to push their own agendas? And most importantly, will the Nigerian people see the change they desperately need? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure. Nigeria is at a crossroads, and its future is in the hands of its people. They have the power to shape their own destiny, and with the right kind of leadership and support, the country can overcome the challenges it faces. It won't be easy, but if anyone can do it, Nigeria can. And there you have it, the full scoop on Sheik Gumi's comments on Nigeria's security, President Trump's involvement, and the broader political situation. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you agree with Gumi's stance on foreign intervention? Can Nigeria really solve its problems on its own? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Nigerian politics, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. We'll be back soon with more updates on what's happening around the world, so stay tuned.